Assalamu alaikum. Hope everyone's doing well. Alhamdulillah for everything. Thank you all for joining us. It means a lot to us. So, going back to the series, going back to the sequence of advice or piece of advice that we wanted to share as regularly and as consistently as possible, trying to provide value, trying to provide a benefit, trying to help those who are struggling with the parent-child relationship, trying to bridge the gap between parents and the youth, parents and their kids, bridge the generational gap that's very real, that's hurting our communities, that's hurting our families, that's causing people suffering, and it's universal. It's all over the world. All right, we said families need to talk, right? We also said that parents should do their best to make sure that kids have a success mindset, that they're not putting them in a psychological box, or just encouraging them to be like everybody else, right? Rather than recognizing that the kids are unique and that they should define success for themselves and help them and encourage them to reach their goals. They don't have to be like everybody else. They don't have to just do what everyone's expecting them to do. Don't put them in a psychological box because that way you're pulling them down. The standards are low. Anyway, all those themes and the things that we've addressed so far will all come back again, inshallah, over and over. These are repeated themes, and we'll definitely go into more detail. Those are just a few of the things that came to mind when I, started thinking about creating content around parents and youth and these kind of issues. Today's episode is about patience and gratitude. Patience and gratitude. These are both attitudes, right? And attitude is everything, right? Nobody in human history has ever been happy every single day of their life. Impossible. If you know an example, if you know somebody that goes against this, feel free to share, comment below. Let me know who it is. Let me read their biography. Let me hear their story. And let's see if we can learn something new. But I challenge you, I highly doubt it. Actually, I'm certain that no one has ever lived that's been happy every day of their lives. So therefore, if you say the goal is happiness, or it's all up here, it's all about your attitude, you just got to be happy. That's not exactly the best advice. It's not realistic because you can't be happy all the time. So why make that your goal? You're only going to be let down. But attitude is important. Attitude is very important. Your mindset is everything. So here is a more realistic, more practical solution. And a better goal than being happy all the time is living a life where when things are tough, you're patient. And when things are good, you're grateful. So it's always positive. That's a positive mentality. Positive, yet realistic mentality. Your head is not up in the clouds. It's not all rainbows and butterflies, right? Because you're not that useful to everybody else. If you're just living in a fairy tale or living in a world that really exists, it might be okay if everything is going well. If you're living in general luxury and security and happiness, and you put yourselves up in the clouds, that might be okay. But how about if you're living in a time where people need you? How about if people are suffering? How about if there's wars and famine and viruses, right? You're not very useful to other people if you're not able to be practical and realistic, even when things are tough, or especially when things are tough. So be patient when things are tough and be grateful when things are good, because that's life. It's going to go from good to bad to good to bad, perceived good and bad at least, right? The reality is, we might go through things that we might think are bad or think are rough. Really, time goes by and we realize that was actually good for us, that we benefited a lot from it, that there was a purpose to it. Even the pain and suffering can be purposeful. But yeah, be patient when things are tough, grateful for when things are good. In that case, you always have the right mentality. You always have the right mindset, and that's the way to be successful. And the believer, as God and His Prophet taught us, peace be upon Him, they taught us that the believer, and only the believer, can have that mindset, can be patient when things are tough and grateful when things are good. And in that case, they're always winning. They're always successful, right? That's the case of the believer. And it's amazing. It's not easy to be there mentally, but that should be the goal for all of us. So now going back to parents and kids, right? How is this related? It is absolutely related because one of the things that parents need to impart to their kids, one of the things that kids need to teach them, which goes against a lot of the societal messages and the cultural norms that we have around us and the messaging that we're hearing, such as just be yourself, just have fun, whatever makes you happy, just do you, just be yourself, just do it, right? You're perfect just the way you are, and so on and so forth. These are slogans of our times, models of our times, mantras of our times, messages of our times, and they might be well intentioned, but they're not the best piece of advice. They look good for like advertisements and campaigns and for marketing. They look good on flyers, on posters, on wallpapers, but it's not the best advice really, because like we already said, you can't be happy all the time. You can't just do whatever you want to do. That's not realistic advice. It's not good advice. You can be hurt. You can hurt yourself and others, right? It's not just me. It's not just I. It's not just my iPad and my iPhone and my car and my house and my career. For kids, it's my toy, my car, my room, my brother, my sister, my mom, my dad, right? My plate, my food. Get out of my room mentality. Leave me alone mentality. You're ruining my life mentality. And as I get older, it's my career, my spouse, my husband, my wife, my job, my house, my car. You get the point, right? Because some people never grow out of this, and it's tough. We all have to struggle against this. We all have an ego. We all care about ourselves, of course. We all have things that we own in terms of property, in a sense. But is it a tool, your phone, your car, your laptop, your whatever? Are these tools that you have that God's blessed you with? Are they blessings that you're using to benefit yourself and others? Or are these things that are these material objects that are taking over our lives, right? Are they in control of us? Or we're depressed because something didn't work out well? Or we're super excited because we got a like or a comment or subscriber or so on? Are they in control of us or are we in control? Do we have the right mindset? Are we patient when things are going our way? And are we grateful when things are well? Or we just feel entitled and feel like it's all supposed to go perfectly our way and everything should work for us when really we're not really in control of our own selves, right? It's about your heart and mind. If your heart and mind are in the phone or in the computer, of course you can be upset if you don't get the likes, comments, subscribers, following that you want. Someone says something about you. No one's ever lived and done anything in their life and hasn't had haters, right? Everyone's gonna have hate sometimes. People that like you and people that dislike you. That's natural. But if you're patient when things are tough and grateful for things that are good, then you're not entitled. You're not selfish. And you know that's not all about you. Things don't all revolve around you. Right? You know that you won't be happy all the time. That's not how it's supposed to be. You have the right mindset. These are things, these are values, principles, and messages that parents need to impart to their kids. And this is why I wanted to have this episode with regards to advising parents and kids as best as we can to kind of improve the relationship because relationships are tough, families are struggling. But yeah, and they're kind of in two different worlds. It's more common for parents to have lived in less luxury and had a less luxurious life, had less ease in their life, especially if they're specifically for the community I know, where people have immigrated from other countries, right? I've been in countries that are more less stable, less secure, less prosperous, less luxurious, at least in the material sense, less, less ease, less less fun, less entertainment, less material, wealth. So they're probably less entitled versus kids. And we're generalizing, of course. But right now, the two generations that we're looking at, and specifically the community I'm looking at, this is a kind of a theme, right? I don't want to generalize and say this is for every family and every household, but it is something that I've seen over and over. The kids are used to more, so they feel they're owed more, that they own more, right? So they're more likely to be anxious and depressed, less likely to be patient and grateful. Anyway, these are values and principles that parents need to try their best to gently but purposefully instill in their kids. These are these are there are stories that need to be shared, and we'll bring them up, as time comes around, inshallah. These are stories that need to be shared with their kids, values that need to be instilled, messages that need to be shared. We need to have more discussions and dialogues and debates and around the right attitude, the right mindset, what success should look like, what happiness really is and all about. How can we be happy in our lives? Right? The reality is that we can live a purposeful life. You can strive for a purposeful life, but you can't strive for a life that's happy if happiness means every day goes just the way you want it to go, that everything works out. That's not realistic. It's not the right mindset or the right attitude. That's not how you can be successful. Right? The discussion continues, inshallah. Feel free to comment, share your concerns, share your questions. Feel free to make videos on some of these topics. Feel free to give me advice, share links and resources that are good, that can benefit us, trying to bring the community together, trying to bring generations together, trying to uplift people, motivate people, inspire people, remind people, criticize people when necessary in a way that's beneficial and constructive, not trying to pull people down. I'll see you guys soon, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.